Yeah, what's going on, team? What's going on, team? Welcome to tonight's isolation session for July 22nd, 2025. Tuesday, July 22nd. Excuse me. Oh, man. Just gonna give everybody another 2 minutes here to join. We'll start at 7:07, and then we'll get started, guys. No trades for me today. We're just gonna review structure, see what we could see for tomorrow. There's a few pairs that I'm excited to look at. But again, just gonna give everybody 2 minutes to join. For everybody new in here joining us for the first time. What time for 1:30? We're gonna be going over the pairs that you see on the right hand side with the red flag next to their name, starting off with AUD/USD, finishing off with US oil. We will be going in order from the top to the bottom, but if you guys have any questions about any other pair, whether or not they're on our list, just let me know and we will break them down. Good morning, Mr. Bashir. How are you, my brother? Should be a quick stream for today. Again, just gonna break everything down. We'll update the daily and the 4 hour if needed. At this point, I don't believe we have to. Nothing just yet. We didn't get really any crazy moves. There were some pairs that moved a lot today. Some others didn't really do anything too much. But again, we'll update that and we'll go through it one by one. Shouldn't be longer than a 30-minute, 35-minute session. So I appreciate everybody who's joining in. Again, if anybody has any questions about anything at all, just let me know. Just gonna give everybody another minute and then we will get started. Alright, let's get started since no questions in the chat. So we're gonna start with AU. AU, we're in A2. Well, sorry, let's take a step back. We were in A2, right? A2 is a second zone of consolidation in a downtrend. We got the break, right? The lower low. We're looking for a lower high to give us that continuation back down to the bottom, right? So we're still in the same spot. AU, there's nothing new to talk about. We're still uptrending, still counter trending, still making higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. We're looking for price continuing to the higher high, right? Nothing to update on the 4 hour, nothing new. We do have a little 4 hour bearish or bullish engulfing candle. But again, there's moving counter trends. So I'm just letting price do what it has to do. Right? We had 3 days of rise. This morning, when we woke up, we saw, oh, we have a little engulfing candle. We rejected these highs on the 800. Right? Let's see how price reacts once we got here. Right? Once price got here, went straight up, didn't give us an entry opportunity. But we already knew that. Right? And again, we already knew price was going to continue that push to the top side because we're still trading higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, looking for price to continue into those higher highs, right? So again, we always say this every single stream, being able to see areas as to where the market makers are going to trap you, that's going to be the biggest key in trading. You have to be able to see that, because if you don't see it, again, just like every other trader that you see online, right? You see every trader taking every single double bottom, you see them taking every single order block, you see them taking every single fair value gap, every confirmation there is, you always see them taking it no matter what. Oh, it's an order block, I'm gonna take it. But again, what is a high probability order block versus a low probability order block? The same thing with what we do, right? What's a high probability engulfing candle versus a low probability engulfing candle, right? And you always have to have your reasonings as to why. If you don't have a reasoning as to why, you still have a lot of work to do. And that's okay. This is not easy. I understand that. This is definitely not easy. But it will be easy once you put in the time. Once you do your due diligence, you backtest and you give your reasonings and you see the reasonings as to why. That's going to be the biggest key in trading. So AU, same thing as yesterday, man. Not really going to be looking at anything. The only thing I like about AU right now, 3 days of rise. Right? After 3 days of rise, we know the market, the next move is either going to be price moving sideways, right? To either consolidate or go down. So could we potentially look for a trade here for today for AU? Just for a little pullback? Absolutely. Something to keep an eye on. We do have a little gap at the beginning of the market. Let's zoom into it. Let's see if it's an actual gap or if it was just small candles. Right? We do have a little gap at the start of the market open. Right? So, again, we know gaps reset the trend. Do I have water in here? No, I don't. Damn. Right? We also have a gap on the second day. So again, these gaps reset the trend. So could price continue that push to the top side? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But again, we have our rules. We know what we're looking for. Just got to be patient. Just got to be patient. Once we have our entry opportunity, then we'll take it. For AUD CAD, we have a day of no net where price just moves sideways today. Right? No trend movements. Let's go to the daily time frame. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Daily time frame, we're still in A1, which is the first zone of consolidation in an overall downtrend. We're still sitting at the bottom of the zone of consolidation, so not the best place to be looking for a trade. Right? We have no continuations on the 4 hour. We can see that price has just been consolidating at these lows for a few weeks now. And on the 30 minute, all we have is a change of character lower low. We don't have the valid break just yet, which again, a break of structure after the change of character, that's going to be the confirmation that the trend has shifted from an uptrend, right, back down to a downtrend. So just got to be patient. All right, so nothing here on AUD CAD just yet. Going to be waiting for that break of structure to happen. Euro AUD, we are in level 3 in an uptrend, right? We had push number 1, level 1. First zone of consolidation in an uptrend is V1. Second level, second zone of consolidation, which is V2, and then you have level 3. And we know that we're expecting price to reach our previous peak high territory, right? From peak high to peak low, from peak low to peak high, every single time. There's not one time that it doesn't do it, right? So we're going back in, zooming into these highs, right? We wanted to see valid break of these highs. Never got the valid break. Price instead gave us an inducement and started moving sideways, which that sideways movement, we see it on the 4 hour time frame. Turn off these session breaks real quick, right? Where price is rejecting lows, rejecting highs, rejecting lows, going back to the top side, right? So at this area, again, this is a pair that's in an overall uptrend. Right now, we're sitting at the top of the zone of consolidation. The top of the zone of consolidation in an uptrend is not the place that you want to take buys. It's the same philosophy when you're trading the trend. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, or lower low and lower high, lower low and lower high. You don't want to take a buy position at a higher high because price is going to go down and give you a higher low. The same way that you don't want to take a sell position at a lower low, right? Because you're not expecting price to make lower low, lower low, lower low. You're expecting price to make lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So it's the same philosophy in a zone of consolidation. In a zone of consolidation, how many times did price reject, change this color real quick, right? How many times did price reject these highs? Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different times. And in these 6 different areas, there's 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days where price was just rejecting the highs. The same way in the lows. How many times did price reject these lows? 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, and then went back up. So the only place I would want to take a buy position on Euro AUD is either when price breaks these highs, gives us a retest to then continue, or we'll be looking for our buy positions at the bottom of the zone of consolidation once price gives us an inducement of the low and then starts making higher highs and higher lows, and that's when I'll start looking to take those trades. So right now in this area where we're at with Euro AUD, I am not looking for an entry. On top of that, yesterday we talked about what did we want to see outside of the break. We wanted to see a continuation, right? 2 days of rise for then tomorrow to be looking for that 3rd day push. And we didn't get it. We got a no net instead. What's good, Albert? Welcome to the stream, my brother. Good evening. Good morning for you guys. I already know it's 1 a.m. for you guys. So Euro AUD, just gonna skip it, right? There's nothing to trade there. There's nothing at all. Euro CAD, we already reached our previous peak high. So Euro CAD I am hands off on unless we have a continuation. Again, a continuation would be 2 months of rise going into a 3rd month, and I'll take that 3rd month push. 2 weeks of rise going into a 3rd week, I'll take that 3rd week push back to the top side. Or 2 days of rise, and I'll take the 3rd day. I'll take the 3rd day back to the top side. Right, this is a pair that we know had previous 3 weeks of drop, and again, after 3 weeks of drop, we know the market's either going to push up or move sideways. And we could see that price already pushed up, rejected these highs, started moving sideways, and we finally broke back down to the downside today. Price gave us a day of rise, then for today, gave us a day of drop. So no continuations on EuroCAD right now. Just have to be patient. Cool. Alright, and we know that EuroCAD is still trading. We were at one point higher high, higher low, higher high. Then price went down, give us a change of character, lower low, lower high, back down to the lower low. So this push to the top side that was given yesterday is just another lower high point. So we want to be very careful taking positions on EuroCAD at this point. But again, we're already at the previous peak highs. We shouldn't even be looking to take any trades on this pair for now. Want to be patient with it. Just have to let price develop, let us know what it wants to do, and then we move forward. Very similar to Euro USD, very similar to GU, right? The only difference is that Euro USD is not in peak high territory, right? Euro USD, we are in V1, we're in V1, excuse me, right? Which again, V1 is the first zone of consolidation, and we finally got the break, right? The break of structure happened here. We had the break, the retest, higher low, back up to the higher high. And where are we right now? Just sitting at the higher high. Now, when we go down to the 4 hour, this is where it gets a little mixy, right? Because on the 4 hour, structure looks a little bit cleaner, right? We're still trading within the same areas, right? We're still trading higher high, higher low, back up to the higher high. Once price gave us this higher high, it gave us a little pullback down to the 200 EMA, which is exactly what we want to see, right? Again, level 2, we want to see price bounce off of the 200 EMA. Level 1 and level 3, we want to see price bounce off the 50 EMA. Right? So the fact that price bounced right off of the 200 EMA, and then now when we go down into the internal time frame, right, the 30-minute, we see price starting the uptrend push. Right? At one point, again, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, then price came up and gave us a change of character, higher high to the top side, which is perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to see. Again, what we want to see after the change of character is a valid break of structure. After a break of structure, that's when we know that the trend has shifted. 100%. The trend has shifted and we can continue to look for price to push up. So before I take a trade on EU, what do I want to see? I want to see a valid break of these highs. Right? Again, price gave us low, lower high, lower low, change of character, higher high. We want to see price give us a little pullback, higher low, give us the break, After the break, we get the retest, and that's when we'll look to see price go back to the top side. Now, again, using the same philosophy, all we have is a change of character. We already have a previous 3 days of rise. After 3 days of rise, what must the market do? The market must either move sideways or go down. And we could already see that at the end of the session for today, starting up to now, price has just been moving sideways. So again, be very careful. If you're in these trades going long with EU, be very, very careful, right? So EU is one we'll keep an eye out for. Again, all we're waiting for is that break. If we could get a valid break of these highs, then perfect. We know that for the rest of the week, we could continue to look for price to push to the top side. So for now, just going to be patient. Didn't we draw this last night? This was picture perfect, huh? It's kind of crazy. Not really. We see this how many times every single day? It's the same shit, man. GA. We are in level 3. We've already reached the previous peak high. Price gave us a new high already. So this is a pair that I am also hands off on. Very similar to EURUSD. Right, once we reach peak high, price gave us 3 months of just sideways movement. 3 months of sideways movement. There's nothing here for us. Something is incorrect here. It's all good. We'll fix it later when I figure it out. I'm on the 4 hour? Hold on. Why is this here? Friday. This will be Sunday. I gotta start locking my... Every time I do these, I just gotta lock them. So then I don't move them accidentally. Right, no continuations on the 4 hour. Once again, we're pretty much just still stuck in the zone of consolidation. This entire area here. Right, so this is another pair. Really nothing to talk about. Gotta wait for price to just give us something. Right, we had the change of character. Back to the top. Alright, let's delete some of these drawings. This is getting obnoxious. Hold on. Right, we had lower low, lower high, lower low. Price came up and gave us a change of character, higher high. Right, all of this to the top side to where we're at now. So again, before I take a trade on GA, what do I want to see? I want to see that break of structure. Right, we talked about this yesterday. If we could get the second day push today, and we get a break, then we know we're easy. Tomorrow we're taking an easy trade on this. But price didn't do that. Right, it respected the 800 EMA, exactly what we talked about yesterday. We have the 800 EMA, we know price respects the 800 EMA, and it went right back down to the bottom. So right now for GA, nothing for us there. We just gotta wait it out. Again, guys, any questions, let me know. If I'm going too fast, let me know. But again, same thing we talked about yesterday is the same thing I'm going to talk about today, is the same thing that we talked about in Sunday's session, is going to be the same thing that we're going to talk about in tomorrow's session. So nothing has changed. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. GCAD, we are in level 3. We had push 1, first zone of consolidation. Push number 2, second zone of consolidation. And now we're looking for push number 3. And we know that push number 3, we're expecting price to reach our previous peak high. So we still have a long way to go. Right, when we zoom in, we know price was uptrending. Right, higher high, higher low. Once price got to these higher highs, and this is a question for you guys in the chat, is this a valid higher high? Could we say that this is higher high, higher low, higher high? Type 1 in the chat if yes, type 2 in the chat if no. Give you guys 15 seconds. What's good, Muhammad? You came from the shadow realms in there. Alright, so Muhammad says no. Mr. Albert, Mr. Bashir, if you guys want to answer that, I'll give you another 20 seconds. What's good? I'm chilling, my brother. Chilling like a villain. You know me. It's been raining all day today, so I've just been playing COD all day. I'm not gonna lie. Mr. Bashir says no. Okay. Seems like Albert isn't here right now. Alright, no problem. Exactly. No, this is not a valid higher high. So we already knew two things. Number one, we already knew that this third month push was very low probability. And the second thing we knew is that the higher low is low probability. Because we already know this cannot be considered a higher low if this is not a higher high. This is all part of the same structure, and that's okay. We'll let price develop a little bit more. It'll do what it has to do, and we'll come back to it, right? 3 weeks of drop. After 3 weeks of drop, the market must move up or move sideways. And what have we been doing? Moving sideways. It's really this easy, guys. It cannot get easier than this. Like, this is really not that difficult to see. When you're looking for continuations, 2 weeks of rise, 2 months of rise, 2 days of rise, 3 days of drop, 3 weeks of rise, or 3 weeks of drop, 3 months of drop. Wow, I can't speak. That was a tongue twister. It's really not that difficult to see, right? All you're looking for is to see it. Did price go up or did price go down? Did price go up? Did price go down? Did price move sideways? Like, you cannot tell me that's difficult. You can't. Like, this is here for you. 30-minute time frame. You go to the setting. You turn on your session breaks. This tells you exactly what price is doing. You don't have to guess. You don't have to put crazy trend lines on your chart. Like, again, all these drawings you guys see on the chart is me drawing while I do the sessions. If it was just me alone, I wouldn't have none of this on my screen. It would all just be blank. I'm looking at candlesticks. I'm looking at higher highs and higher lows. It's really not that difficult. It's really not. But again, I say it's not difficult because I did my due diligence. I studied very hard. Very, very, very hard. So again, all it takes is just a little bit of discipline. Wake up when you need to wake up. Show up to the classes when you gotta show up. Ask questions, and that's it. It really doesn't get much simpler than this, guys. It doesn't. It really doesn't. I'm not teaching you guys turtle soup and agua caliente and whatever the fuck else everybody else is trying to sell online. We're not doing that here. It's not, I'm not gonna say it's not real. It's definitely real. These strategies do work. But the first thing you have to learn when you're trading is market structure. Why? What is the language of the charts? Is market structure. It's candlestick analysis. Imagine if you were learning a new language and people are fucking telling you, oh, learn this new language, but you have to do turtle soup. What the hell does that even mean? Teach me market structure. How does the market move? Higher highs and higher lows. Lower lows and lower highs. That's it. It's really that simple. After you learn market structure, then you start learning these other entry strategies. You can't learn entry strategies before you learn market structure. That doesn't make any sense. Because again, this is the reason why you go to these social media influencers accounts and they have a 30%, 40% win rate. Because they're taking every double bottom in the market. They're taking every double top in the market. They're taking every fair value gap. They're taking every order block. They're taking every engulfing candle. Whatever entry confirmation that they have, again, and I say confirmations in hyphens, right, in quotation marks, whatever that's called, right? These guys do not understand market structure, and market structure is the language of the charts. If you cannot see higher highs and higher lows and lower highs, you cannot learn entry models. Fair value gaps, order blocks, engulfing candles, smart money concepts, SRC, SRC, the CRV, the SCAT, whatever the fuck you guys want to learn, the Jaguar F-type, all these entry models, you cannot learn those before you learn market structure. Because the market will print a bearish order block, and it will print it everywhere on the chart. The problem is that if you're trading a bearish order block when price is still uptrending, you're going to lose the trade. I hope that makes sense. You said, can we say that previous high is a higher high but isn't an actual break? No. On GCAD, no. You can't say that this is a higher high. Because it's not. Again, a higher high has to be a higher high. Right? We can't say that this is a higher high. Right? Let's draw this out again so it can make sense. Right? Price is trending, boom, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Right? You can't say that this is a higher high. Right? Or could you? Let's pull it up just a little bit. Higher high, higher low, higher high. You could tell me that this is higher high or higher low, higher high? You can't, right? For a higher high to be met, when you're trending higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, what do you see every single time? Whenever everybody online draws market structure with a path tool, what do you see every single time? A break and a retest, a break and a retest, a break and a retest, right? You don't see them doing a testing candle, a testing candle, a testing candle, a testing candle. That's not structure, right? So in order for a higher high to be met, you need to see those valid breaks. You need to see it, especially when you're on a higher time frame. So then the next question should be like, well, okay, if this isn't a higher high, how do you mark this? It's very simple, right? You grab the tool, you put it at the most highest point, right? And at this point, we know that we're trading between this area here. This is now considered higher high, higher, sorry, whoa, I am twisted, right? Higher high, same way that these lows never broke. You see that, right? Higher low, higher high. All of this is part of the same trend, right? And now is when we'll be looking for a higher low to be set. This is the area that we're trading in on the daily time frame. Let me know if that made sense, Albert. And everybody else in the chat, let me know if that made sense. We went on a little rant there, but I feel like I have to say that because, again, it's very disheartening seeing my fellow traders losing trades when they shouldn't even be losing trades. They shouldn't be. I hate seeing that. You really are turning into you, bro. That's one thing I always told them. I'm like, yo, I can't wait for the day that I be fucking crashing out like you, but you know, it's a double-edged sword because I've always said, I'm like, yo, I fucking hate that nobody shows up to these sessions and nobody trades and nobody takes this shit serious. And now that there's more people taking it serious, and I have way more people messaging me that they lost, and it's like, yo, how, what irks me the most is people watch the session and then they go into the trading session in the morning and then they take complete opposite trades of what we talked about. Now, I don't care that you're taking opposite trades. What I care about is how are you sitting here telling me that you want to be a professional trader and you want to do this full time, but you're doing whatever your mind wants you to do. Like, not even your mind. I don't even know how to explain that. Like, brother, you just took a sell position when price is making higher highs and higher lows? Or vice versa? You just took a buy position. You took a sell position when price is making higher highs and higher lows, and you took a buy position when price is making lower lows and lower highs. How? How? It doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, bro, I think it broke in the lower time frame. Correct, Albert. But again, we're looking at the daily time frame. If you have a daily high or a daily low, what time frame are you looking for price to break the highs or break the lows? If anybody else also has the answer to that question, you could go ahead and answer it in the chat. But I would like Albert to answer that since it is his question. Right? Again, the question was, if you have a daily high and a daily low, where are you looking at, in what time frame are you looking for the high or low to be broken? You can see now why he crashes out. No, what I could see is why he doesn't do the fucking session anymore. Because that motherfucker texted me like 2 weeks ago talking about, I gotta come back again. Like, get the fuck out of here, right? I know you ain't coming back. You little fucking liar. In the daily time frame. Exactly. So there you go. That answers your question. If you're looking at a daily high and a daily low, you're looking for the break of structure on the daily time frame. If you're looking at a 4-hour high or a 4-hour low, you're looking for the break on the 4-hour time frame, right? But that's not a bad question. And the reason I say this, right, not only because there's no such thing as a bad question, but I say that because a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people will have, you know, their boxes or whatever, they'll have their zones on a 4-hour time frame. But then they'll go down into a 30-minute or to the 1-hour time frame, and they'll be like, oh my god, look, the 30-minute broke the highs, I'm gonna take a trade. And it's like, brother, you just said that's a 4-hour, like, think about it. Like, really think about it. You just said it's a 4-hour high. Why the fuck are you looking to break on the 30-minute? That doesn't make any sense. If you have a 4-hour high or a 4-hour low, or you have to look for the break on the 4-hour. If you have a daily high or a daily low, you need to wait for the break on the daily time frame. Right? Because again, what is the inducement? This is where this question comes from. Right? The inducement, that, let's go back to the chart, GCAD, right? This is called the inducement. Why? Because again, what is the definition of inducement? Right? It's to trap you out. It's make you feel like it looks good. Why is it an inducement? Because if you do go down to a lower time frame, right? Let's switch this box back to how it was before, real quick, just for conversation's sake. Right? Why is it called an inducement? Because if you go down to the 4-hour, it looks like it gave you a break of structure. Right? This is where all the traders who were still going long, they got faked out, thinking, oh my god, look, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, I'm taking this trade to go back to the top side. And what happened? Boom, exhaustion candle, straight to stop loss. Straight to stop loss. If you go down to the 30-minute time frame, I don't know if I could go that far back. I can. If you go to the 30-minute time frame, did price give you the break of the daily high? Of course. That's what the inducement is. This is what the inducement is, and it's literally showing it to you here on the 30-minute time frame. Make you believe that price is gonna go up. It'll give you a zone of consolidation, right? Everybody knows what a zone of consolidation is. This is where smart money concepts comes into play, right? Boom. You got a zone of consolidation, a break, and a retest. How many people you think took this trade? Right? How many people you think took this trade? You were caught in the inducement. Thank you. You were part of the inducement. That's why I won the trade. Right? That's what I'm gonna start telling people. Like, thank you for taking that long position. You were the inducement I needed to see. Right? So this is why that's called an inducement. Because it's trapping traders to make them believe that that's the best place to take a trade. We got a break on the 30-minute. But brother, that's a daily high. How are you looking for a 30-minute break on a daily high? That doesn't make any sense. Right? So I hope that made a little bit more sense now that I explained it that way. But that's really what it is. So we still know, again, we're trading between this high. Right? We're still trading higher high, higher low into these higher highs. On God, on January, he said April. It's July already. That's what I'm saying, bro. And it's gonna be fucking December 31st, and he's gonna say, yo, I'll be back. And he will be back. He always comes back in the beginning of the year. He takes his few trades for the first 3 months, and then March comes, and then it's our birthdays, and then he's not coming back. That's it. He ain't coming back till fucking January 3rd. First week of the year, bro. We got him for 3 months. That's it. We need a formal apology from E for making us Forex orphans. But thank God you got us. Yo, that's funny as hell, Albert. Fucking Forex orphans is crazy. I'm taking a screenshot of that. Hold on. Yo, that's funny as hell, bro. I'm gonna send them that screenshot right now, actually, as a matter of fact. Yo, that's funny as hell. When was the last time I texted him, bro? Let me see. I texted him yesterday. And guy, he didn't even fucking respond to me, man. What a fake ass uncle. Alright, so GJ, let's get back into it, guys. We're almost done. GJ, we know we're still in an uptrend, still trading higher high, higher low, higher high. Price came down and gave us a higher low on the push back to the top side, just in a zone of consolidation. Right? And right now, where are we? At the top of the zone of consolidation. So is this the best place to look for buy positions? Right now, no. Now, going into the 4-hour time frame, what do we see? He responded, LMAO. Dude, why is this guy so dry? He said, tell Albert I'm gonna remember that. What a fucking guy. Alright. So on the 4-hour time frame, at the top of the zone of consolidation, what do we see? We see another small zone of consolidation. And what happened today? Price came down and swept the lows. Perfect. What do we know that we have at the top of the zone of consolidation? A 30-minute gap. So we already know, boom, we're at the bottom of the zone of consolidation, right? We have a sweep of the lows, which we can see here on the 30-minute time frame. We have a change of character. And this change of character didn't even give us a valid break. All of these were still testing candles. And price just printed a fat exhaustion candle. A fat exhaustion candle. So what could we expect? We could definitely expect price to continue a push to the top side. Right? Gave us a little small bullish engulfing, but I don't like this red candle. It's a doji candle. I don't really like that. So I'm not even gonna mark that area. Right, and on the 5-minute, this is gonna be, we don't have no 5-minute structure here. We're trading in the same areas as the 30-minute. On the 1-minute, it would be, and the 1-minute gets a little tough, right? Because we have, well, it doesn't matter how we mark this up here because price continued, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Price came down, gave us a higher low. Right, gave us another higher high, gave us a higher low. Right, and then this is where price gave us a sweep of the lows here, change of character, and now we have another change of character up here, back to the higher high. So, could we get a little entry on the 1-minute? Yeah, I don't trust GJ on the 1-minute though. I would say keep an eye on that for sure. We'll mark up this engulfing candle, but again, this engulfing candle is very steep. We're talking about a 50 pip stop loss, and that is just not good. Not good at all. So I'm not even gonna mark that up. We'll keep an eye on GJ, man. Hopefully, you know, at this point, let's look at Forex Factory real quick before we go on, because that would be a nice thing to look at. We already did 72 pips for the day, and this is a pair that moves, what, 95 pips? We gotta calculate STP again. 28 minutes ago, Trump, we just completed a deal with Japan, will invest $550 billion. Pay tariffs to the US of 15%. Holy crap. Japan will invest $550 billion in the US, which will receive 90% of the profit. This deal will create hundreds of thousands of jobs. Japan will open their country to trade, including cars and trucks, rice, and certain other agricultural. Agricultural what? Finish the sentence. No, man. All good. But why is that good and why is that bad, right? For us as traders, it's good, especially Forex traders, because we make money either way, man. We could buy and sell. It don't matter. But US consumers pay the tariffs, right? If the US consumers pay the tariffs, that means higher prices, right? Higher prices means higher inflation. Mr. Jerome Powell. There you go. Right? So it's a good and a bad thing. I'm gonna remember that. You always here. You can't back down now. You gotta respond to this comment. He's scared now. He said, "Oh shit." He's in the chat. Right? Ah, dude, I opened the Forex Factory to look at something, and then I looked at something completely different, bro. My bad. Let's go back. My bad. The news. Let's take a look. We have no news tomorrow. We have AUD news, but it's at 11 p.m. tomorrow. So, should be a pretty crazy day. He said, okay, brother. Right, so GJ, gonna keep an eye on it. Again, I really like this exhaustion candle. Again, that 15-minute engulfing that we have. Very steep. Again, very steep. 50 pips, that's crazy. Right, so we'll keep an eye on GJ for sure. We still got that gap. We have the sweep of the lows of the zone of consolidation. We'll look for an entry going into tomorrow. We have that opportunity. GU. How's everyone? You know it's all love. I'm doing good. I'm chilling. They were just uh they were just in the comments telling me how I'm turning into you because I'm crashing out too much. But it's like sometimes you have to, you know what I mean? He said Albert's my orphan. No, he's my orphan. I took him in. You left him in the streets and I took him in. So technically, he's my orphan. I love him though. Yeah, it's all good. You know, some people. I'm not gonna say that on stream. It's all good. It's all love. Every day they message me, yo, when's E coming back? And it's like, damn, man, do I do that bad of a job? It kind of hurts every single time they say that. When's he coming back? Man, I don't know. Like, look what Mr. Bashir just said. Like, it won't be a bad idea if you show up sometime. Like, yo, that's a crazy fucking. That's a backhanded compliment if I've ever heard one. That's crazy. Left you guys in great hands. I appreciate that coming from you. That's a crazy, crazy comment, Mr. Bashir. I'm not gonna lie. All right, Albert, let's not gas him up. Come on, lock in. All right, GU, we're almost done here, gentlemen. So GU, we were in V1, right, which is again an uptrend, the first zone of consolidation. Price gave us the break, the retest, higher low, to go back into the higher high, right? So again, we know that we are still trading at the higher high. Going into the 4-hour time frame, what do we see? Price gave us higher high, higher low, higher high. Price came down, gave us an inducement of the low, started the push to the top side. Now, very similar to EU, right? The daily time frame, I could sit here and say, well, I am expecting a steeper pullback, right? But if we go down to the 4-hour, it's telling us something completely different, just a little different, which is again, price is still uptrending. Gave us higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. At the lows, it gave us the inducement of the low. And now on the 30-minute time frame, right, let's take a step back. 3 weeks of drop, right? Let's turn off these session breaks real quick so it can be a little bit more clear. 3 weeks of drop. After 3 weeks of drop, we know the market's either going to move sideways or go up, right? So at this point, when we go back down into the 30-minute, what did we want to see? We wanted to see the change of character, right? We wanted to see the break, but the break that I wanted to see above everything else was above the 800 EMA. Did we get the break above the 800 EMA? Yes. What else did we get? We got 2 days of rise. Now, the only thing... No, why do I have this here? My bad. I just almost confused myself. Right, so let's put this down here for now. Right, valid breaks, valid break, higher high, higher low, boom, valid break was up here, perfect. Right, so what do we have now? 2 days of rise. Could we be looking for a potential third push to the top side? Absolutely. Now, the only thing I don't like about it, price already gave us an exhaustion candle. And that exhaustion candle was already made for that third push to the top side. So is this a pair that I'm going to be looking at? I'm going to look at it. Definitely going to keep an eye on it. But I could already sit here today and say, most likely going to be very low probability. So, gonna move on to the next one. There's nothing there. Already gave us that third push. We'll keep an eye on it in tomorrow's live trading session. Damn, bro, I needed that water bottle badly. I don't have one in here. I drank them all. Damn. Um. Hi, Yahweh. Hello. Alright. NZD USD, right? Where are we? In a downtrend. We're still in A2, which is the second zone of consolidation. We're looking for that third and final push back down to the previous peak low. Above everything else, we wanted to see a valid break of these lows. Did we get a valid break? No. Price gave us the inducement to the lows and went back to the top side. Right back to the, you could say, the bottom of the zone of consolidation still. Right, so I'll be looking for continuations. Nothing on the daily time frame. Daily time frame, we can see that price has just been moving sideways here. We'll see that a little bit better on the 4 hour. Oh, my line's deleted. All good. I don't need them anyway. We're still trading between the previous higher high, higher low, higher high. Price came down and gave us a higher low. Right, we had 2 weeks of drop. Again, we'll turn off the session breaks. And once again, what do we have at the bottom? The 800 EMA. Price tends to respect the 800 EMA. So we already knew from the start of the week, this is going to be a very low probability area to look for a trade. Right? And very similar to what we talked about on AU. Again, market structure is king. Right? We talked about this yesterday. Let's delete these markups real quick. Right? Same thing that we talked about on AU earlier in the stream is the same thing for today. Right? Even though price gave us an engulfing candle, we have to keep an eye on market structure. What did price do? Lower low, lower high, lower low, boom, higher high, change of character. Higher low. Price came back up to the highs, rejected the highs. Right? Didn't tap it, so it wasn't a real clean rejection, but it went to the highs. Coming back down, what did price do? Rejected the lows. Now, let's say you took this trade. Right? If you took this trade, then perfect, you were in profit. If you kept an eye on market structure and you saw, okay, we have these lows here. If price doesn't break these lows, then what do we know? It's going to go back up. From lower low, lower high, lower low, we go down to a lower time frame. Right? Once it rejected the lows, what did we start doing? Boom. Higher high, change of character, higher high, boom. Break of structure to then continue back up to the top side. Right? So, once again, before you learn entry strategies, you need to learn market structure. There's nothing more like it. Right? Price gave us a break of the highs, moving counter trend. So right now, this is a pair that I already know I am going to be hands off. Once price starts giving me lower lows and lower highs, that's when I'll start trading. We're trading between these 30-minute lows, and we don't have no set 30-minute highs, so we'll do this tomorrow. DOP USD, don't forget, I got you. We'll do that at the end of the session. US 30, similar situation to what we talked about on AU, and same thing that we talked about on NZD USD, but we'll start off on the daily time frame. I might have to delete some of these drawings because I went kind of rogue today in one of my sessions. Because they asked me, I don't see market structure. What do you mean you don't see market structure? And I think I went over this yesterday too in the live session. And I did it again this morning. And I think I did it pretty fucking well. Alright, so let's delete some of these drawings real quick. Damn, man, how much did I draw? I thought I was trading, not in art class. Alright. Daily time frame. Where are we? At a higher high. We're still sitting at the same previous higher high that we were at. Right? We have 2 months of rise, this month being the third month. Price gave us that third month push and then just started moving sideways. We see that a lot more clear on the 4-hour time frame, where price was rejecting lows, rejecting highs, rejecting lows, went back to the highs, went to the middle, came back to the high, came back to the middle, right? Coming back up to the highs. All right, we have nothing really on the 4-hour to talk about. On the 30-minute time frame, once again, zone of consolidation, where we could see price rejecting lows and rejecting highs, rejecting lows, rejecting highs, coming back to the middle, coming back to the top, coming back to the middle, right again. So we're pretty much inside a internal zone of consolidation that was inside a 4-hour zone of consolidation. We had a day of rise yesterday. Today, price gave us a second day of rise, right? What are we expecting? A 372. Right, did we get the 372 already? Absolutely. Price, as soon as the market opened, gave us that push to the top side. Right, so US 30 is another one. I'm taking a step back. We have a little lower low, lower high, lower low change of character to the top side. If price gives us a valid 30-minute break, but we also get the break of the top of the zone of consolidation, then we know one thing. We know that price will continue. That's simple. There's nothing more to it. On the 5-minute time frame, price gave us lower low, higher high, change of character, higher low. Price gave us the higher high, break, and then just continued. Didn't really give a pullback, but it did exactly what it needed to do. Right, gave us the break. Boom. The valid break happened with this candle over here. Right, we had price just give us a little slight pullback. Right, continued back to the top side. So US 30 is another one we could just go ahead and skip. We'll talk about this tomorrow morning. USD CAD and USD ZAR still just moving down. Right? We had higher high, higher low, higher high, change of character, lower low. Right? And I'm very tempted to not even say, because this isn't a significant pullback. Right? But we are below the 800 EMA. But I'm very tempted to just say that this is where the change of character happened, going back down to the low, instead of saying that this is lower low, lower high, lower low. Even though, again, the only reason I would say that I would keep it like this and then say that this is lower low, lower high, lower low is because of the 800 EMA. But structurally speaking, this is not a significant pullback. So because it's not a significant pullback, we're just not going to force anything, right? We'll let price do what it has to do. We still don't have any set lows, so we'll just keep this here. We have 3 days of drop. After 3 days of drop, we know the market's either gonna move sideways or go up. This is a pair that we do have gaps in the market. We had a gap on Thursday, the market open for Sunday going into Monday. Resets the trend. So could price go lower? Absolutely. Just gotta be patient, right? And USD CAD is a pair currently still sitting in an uptrend because we had higher high, higher low, boom, higher high. But we reached the previous peak high. Price gave us a little inverse in peak high territory. It gave us a little inverse shoulder head shoulder. Gave us the first push back down to the bottom, and we're right on the 800 EMA. So could we say that this is level 1 to the downside? Right? And could we say that this is where we'll start seeing price consolidate for the first zone of consolidation in a downtrend? It could be it. But right now, just going to be patient with it. And again, the reason why, we're sitting on the 800. Price tends to respect the 800 EMA. We're still trading between the previous higher high, higher low, and higher highs. So just going to be patient with USD CAD. Right, this is another pair that also we had 3 months of drop. So this month, I'm expecting price to either move sideways or go up. And what is price doing right now is just moving sideways. So there's nothing out of the ordinary with USD CAD. USD CAD is doing exactly what it needs to do. 2 weeks of 2 weeks of rise, this week being the 3rd week. Once again, why is this low probability? Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. That's it. I can't take a buy position if market structure is still downtrending. It doesn't make any sense. Once again, before you learn entry strategies, you need to learn market structure. Because it's very simple to get trapped in the lower time frames if you cannot see market structure on the higher time frames. And being able to connect them together from the daily to the 4-hour to the 30-minute. If you can't do that, it's going to be very difficult to take winning trades consistently. Again, go look up any social media trader. I'm not gonna call out no names, but there's a big trader who traded GJ yesterday and took a fat L. I'm gonna take the buy positions to fill the gap at the top. Brother, right now you're gonna take that trade? Alright. Shit, let me know how it goes. And he took a very fat L. Because again, market structure will always be king. Market structure is always gonna tell you what is gonna happen. You're gonna take a buy position in the middle of the zone of consolidation. Nice. Let me know how that goes for you. And I know exactly how it went. Straight to stop loss. Straight to fucking stop loss. Straight to it. It wasn't even like, hey, I'm in profit. No. Straight to stop loss. Right? So, market structure is king, guys. That's all I gotta say. We've been saying it all stream today. We said it yesterday. There's nothing like it. Alright. What is this all here? Give me 1 second. Let me fucking clean this chart up a little. USDs are still trending down, man. Nothing to do here. There's 2 days of rise today, or 2 days of drop. Sorry, today being the 3rd day, we got the 3rd day push. After 3 days of drop, the market must move. Move sideways or consolidate. USDs are. We know that we're still in V2, which is a second zone consolidation, looking for that 3rd and final push to the top side. But right now, price is still giving us lower lows and lower highs on the 30-minute. We're still trading between the 4-hour, lower low, lower high, lower low. Lower high, price came right back down to the lower lows. Right? So, once again, gonna be patient. Now, if price decides to give us an inducement of the 4-hour low, and then we start trending back up to the top side, then perfect. We'll start taking these trades. There's no problem with that. But we have to be patient. We have to wait for the confirmations. Once we get the confirmations, then we will take a trade. For gold, what did gold do here? Let's see. Let's see if they started sweeping these highs. Oh, stayed in it, respected it. Alright, let's go to the daily time frame real quick. Where are we with gold? Gold, we know we're in peak high territory. We're in the highest point in the market. That's number 1. Number 2, what are we doing? In a zone of consolidation, where price has been rejecting highs and rejecting lows, moving sideways the entire time. And where is price going right now? Back to the previous highs that have been rejected before. 1, 2, 3, 4 different times price has rejected the highs at the top of the zone of consolidation. Right? So what does that tell us? That could tell us 2 things. Right? That could either tell us price is getting ready to reject highs again to continue going down, or this is the area where we'll have to start looking for price to start breaking above our highs. Right? We have a 4-hour high, we have a daily high, and we have our 30-minute high. We had 3 weeks of rise. On the 3rd week, gave us a rise drop. This week being the 4th week, we were expecting that 4th week variation back to the top side. Did we get the push? Absolutely. Price gave us that push clean as day. 30-minute time frame. 30-minute time frame. 2 days of rise, today being the 3rd day. Price gave us that 3rd day push. After 3 days of rise, the market must move sideways or go down. Very similar to these other pairs that have the 3 pushes, the 3 days of rise or 3 days of drop. Gold also has gaps in the market. Right? We had a gap on the market open from Monday going to Tuesday. We had a gap Sunday opening the market going into Monday. What do we know about gaps? It resets the trend. So could price continue this push to the top side? Absolutely. And on the 1 minute time frame, you can see that I've been on my charts today. I haven't had shit to do. It was raining. But I was looking to see if the market was going to shift. We're still trading between this high and this low. So once again, I can't look to enter on a bearish engulfing candle if price is still making higher highs and higher lows. And that goes for every single strategy on the playbook. Whether you're trading the Honda CRV or the Jaguar F-Type, or if you're trading the M3 BMW, or if you're trading Turtle Soup or Fair Value Gap or Smart Money Concepts or SRC or FVG or the order blocks, it doesn't matter what strategy you're trading, it's all the same thing. You cannot take a bearish entry confirmation when price is still bullish. I've said that many times this stream, but I'm saying it so it could click. You cannot take a bearish confirmation when price is still bullish. You're going to lose 70% of your trades. You might get lucky one day, you might. But this is not a game where we just want to be lucky every single time we step on the charts. You need to make sure that you're precise every single time you hop on the charts. Every single time. Not just once, not just twice, not just for 1 week. Now, if this is what you want to do as a hobby, cool. Again, it's a lot cheaper to take up photography. Stop trading. If you want to do this for a long time, for the longevity as a career, you have to make sure you understand that. You cannot take a bullish confirmation entry if price is still bearish. It doesn't make sense. So you have to wait for those areas to develop. Once it develops, then you take the trade. It's not take the trade and then it's going to develop. No, if you take the trade first, you're going straight to stop loss. And we saw that with GJ. How many other trades did we see that? We saw it with AUD-USD today. What other pair do we see that in? NZD-USD. There's 3 different pairs that gave you 3 confirmation entries against the trend. And if we were anybody else on social media, we would have taken every single setup and we would have gotten hit out for every single setup. And then we would have blamed Trump. Oh, because Trump is talking today. That's why we lost the trade, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to do these sessions anymore. That's how we would sound. We'd sound fucking crazy. We'd sound like lunatics. Right? Again, the language of the charts is the candlestick analysis and market structure. If you do not understand market structure or candlestick analysis, you will not have a fun time in the markets. You're going to blame everybody for why you lost the trade. Instead of sitting there and saying, hey, I lost this trade because I have no fucking clue what I'm looking at. And I would rather believe you saying that than saying, oh, it's because Trump was talking today. Dude, let's be fucking for real here. You lost the trade because you have no clue what you're looking at. It's that simple. There's no other way to put it. No, you just don't know what you're looking at, and that's okay. That just means you have a lot to learn. You still have a lot to learn, and you will always have a lot to learn in the market because you always have to adapt to it. But again, that is the difference between a trader who has a 20% win rate to a trader who has an 80, 90, 100% strike rate. There's a huge difference. Just think about it. Again, how many engulfing candles did we see this morning? It was 3 different pairs. NZD-USD, AUD-USD, and I forgot the other one. What was it? Was it in gold? No. It was, I don't remember. It was 3 pairs. Or USD CAD. There you go. USD CAD, AUD-USD, and NZD-USD. Those are 3 pairs that gave engulfing candle entries. Going counter trend. And all 3 of them hit stop loss. I hope it's starting to click now. Why didn't we take it? You saw it live on stream this morning. I literally told you guys, yo, there is nothing to take. The only thing that was clean, crystal clear, was US oil, but it gave us the entry right before the market opened, and I am not taking a trade and holding a trade from one session to the next. Commission fees are really expensive. The swap fees are really expensive. You do not want to do that. But oil gave us exactly what we wanted to see. Inducement to the highs, change of character, break of structure, the retest of the engulfing candle, straight to take profit, 2 days of drop, looking for a third day, gave us a 15-minute engulfing, gave us a beautiful entry, 0 drawdown, straight to take profit as soon as the market opened. It doesn't get more clearer than that. We want to see price bounce off the 200 EMA in level 2. Where are we? Let's go to it. Again, the same thing we explained yesterday, daily time frame. Bouncing right off the 200 EMA, exhaustion candles before the entry, twice before the entry. It was a beautiful trade, beautiful continuations back down to the bottom. That's exactly what I want to see every single time I step onto the charts. If these entries don't look like how US oil looked, I'm not taking the trade. There's nothing to trade, right? So we already know US oil. Let's go look at it. We had 3 days of drop. We had lower low, lower high, lower low, change of character, higher high. Price came down, gave us a change of character back down to the bottom. Right? Boom, change of character. Now, am I going to say this is lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, lower low? No, this is all part of the same structure here. All of this is part of the same trend. So I know that we're trading between these lows and these highs. So what do I want to see for continuations? I want to see a valid break of structure of these lows. Right? After 3 days of drop, the market must move sideways or push to the top side. So we already know what's next. Right? My next point of interest to take a trade on US oil to continue the push to the downside is going to be for price to break these lows. If price breaks these lows, perfect. We get right back in. Right, so that's pretty much it, guys. I did a little bit of ranting. I hope everything made sense. I hope you guys enjoyed the guest appearance of E. We missed him in here. Any questions, let me know. Anything else you want me to talk about, anything you want me to explain again, let me know. As far as our watch list for tomorrow, I don't have a lot of things on my watch list. I'm not really looking at anything on my watch list. We just have a lot of pairs moving. That's really all it is, but no real confirmations just yet. This is going to be a trading day very similar to this morning, where we're just going to have to wake up tomorrow morning and see what's left on the table for us, and then we'll take it, right? So the only thing I would say, GJ, right, keep a very close eye on GJ for that gap at the top of the market, at the top of the zone of consolidation after the sweep of the lows. That's it. After GJ, there's really nothing else. Everything else, I'm not expecting any entries on any other pair. All right, we could potentially look for a pullback on AU again after 3 days of rise, looking for price to go down. So a potential sell setup on AU could develop, but again, it'll just be a pullback. Price is still making higher highs and higher lows on every single time frame that we go on. Right, again, 4-hour time frame, higher high, higher low, higher high, boom, higher low. Right, we go to the daily time frame, same thing, we see it, right, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So we already know where we want to go for AU. We already know where it needs to go before it continues the trend back down to the bottom. So that's pretty much it, guys. Gonna give you another 3 minutes. Any questions, let me know. If no questions, then we will be done for the night, and we'll be back tomorrow morning for the live trading session. Damn, have my phone on do not disturb for a hot minute. Good night. Good night, my brother. I'll see you in the morning, Albert. Alright, guys. Peace out. Thanks and good night. Good night, Mr. Bashir. No problem at all. We'll see you tomorrow morning.